Hey guys, Chris Dunn here. Just want to do a quick video to show you guys how to make money shorting Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. I'll just start with three kind of key points that I want to talk about here. And before I do that, I'll just say like why I'm uniquely qualified to talk about this is I actually gained a lot of notoriety. This is TradingView.com. I became one of the top contributors whenever I first started shorting Bitcoin, and my ideas have had about 100,000 views or so. And my accuracy with trading Bitcoin, as far as I know, I'm one of, if not the most accurate trader out there when it comes to this. And all of my trades are publicly posted, and all of my alerts go out to my students. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. And I'll just give you some quick history on where this came from and kind of why you should look at shorting cryptocurrencies. You can just make a lot of money when markets go down. That's what shorting is whenever, a lot of people know of the idea of buy low, sell high, right? And this was the end of 2013 right here where, Bitcoin went from about $100 to over $1,000. And this is where the media, just fell in love with Bitcoin, and then it crashed. And I was actually one of, if not the only guys that was publicly saying, like, look, I think Bitcoin's overvalued and I'm going to make money as this thing comes down. And that's exactly what it did for over a year. I was making money as this thing was going down over the course of about 18 months until it hit its bottom in 2015, where I bought right here at 188, I believe was my buy price. And you can see Bitcoin since then has bounced quite a bit. But anyway, let's just talk about how to do this. So kind of the first three things here is you need the right exchange. Okay, the beautiful thing with trading Bitcoin is you don't need to go through a broker. There's no middleman, but there are several different exchanges. You can see over here this list. This is a list of all of the different cryptocurrency exchanges that you can trade through. Just like, with stocks, you can trade through the NASDAQ or the NYSE, or, there's only a handful. With cryptocurrencies, there's a ton of exchanges. And so you really need the right exchange. And the way that you do this is you want to short when the odds are that price is going to immediately go lower. You don't want to be in a short position for weeks or months on end. And I'll tell you why in a second. But, when it comes to shorting, risk management is key. If you just get short and expect price to go down, but you hold, if you, let's say you would have shorted here at let's just say 200 right here, and then you never closed, you can lose exponentially more than your account value. So basically, whenever you're shorting, which is basically betting on the price of something to go down, risk management is really, really key. So I don't recommend just doing this saying, oh, I think Bitcoin is going to go down over time. What you really want to do is be precise and catch it. So for example, one of my best shorts was right here. There was a head and shoulders pattern, and I shorted above $900 and then held down into the sixes. But I took profit along the way. I scaled in and I scaled out, which is more advanced. But basically, I shorted right where I knew there was a really high probability that price was going to go down immediately. It's not like you want to get short and then hold for a long, long time. So let's talk about just 5 steps of how to actually do this, okay? Step 1 is you borrow Bitcoin or an altcoin. It could be Ethereum, it could be Factum, it could be any one of these coins that has liquidity, basically has trading volume. So how do you borrow it? Well, you go to an exchange that allows borrows and basically gives you the option to take Bitcoin or take whatever cryptocurrency you're trading and sell it at the current market price. Okay, so let's say that, Bitcoin was at $500 today, just $500 even, and you think it's going to go down to $400 in 1 week. You would you would borrow Bitcoin, you would sell it at 500, and then you would wait for price to go down. Hopefully it goes in your favor, right? Sometimes it doesn't, but if you know what setups to take, odds are it's going to do what you're looking for. And then the goal is to buy back at a lower price. So, if you shorted at 500 and then it went down, you would buy that back at a lower price And then what that does is it automatically returns the borrows to the exchange. So whatever Bitcoin or altcoin or cryptocurrency that you borrowed, it would automatically give that back to the exchange, whoever put those coins up. So that's how it works. And I'm actually going to be doing a live trading masterclass to kind of show you the mechanics of how to do this. So I'll put a link below this video. And I would just encourage you to go ahead and register for that, because I'm going to just take you through, how to place orders, what exchanges are the right exchanges, because, that list is always changing. And depending on when you watch this video, the exchanges that are currently the best exchanges to short at may or may not be the best. So what I'm going to do is keep an active and kind of updated list, because the beautiful thing about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies is this is, basically my favorite market right now. We have what I call let me type this out, what we call the re-democratization of the financial market. And what I mean by that, by re-democratization of financial markets, is the power is now back in the independent retail traders' hands. I have been frustrated since 2008 as I've watched high-frequency computer algorithms completely destroy the stock market. If you've read Flash Boys, you know that over the years it's become increasingly difficult for independent traders to make money in the stock market, and that's because of high-frequency algorithms and just the edge that Wall Street has over independent traders. But with decentralized exchanges on decentralized currencies, it's really giving the power back to independent traders and independent investors. And so, we have this kind of unique window right now where these markets are just incredibly simple to trade, and there is an edge in them. And, I've just been doing really well over the past few years trading this. And so I just want to kind of show everybody and show you the best way to do this right now, the best way to short, because I always say, the market takes the stairs up and the elevator down. It takes a while usually for the market to trend up, but when it crashes hard. And instead of just being a bag holder, or instead of just being a buy and hope investor, you can actually make money by doing this, by shorting. And so that's what the master class is going to be about. It's going to be a live class where I'm basically going to take you through the mechanics of exactly how to do this and why it's so profitable. So just go ahead and make sure to get registered for that. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment. But just to kind of review the overview again, the most important thing is that you're trading through the right exchange, and then you short when the odds are that price is going to move immediately in your favor right away. Again, you don't want to hold this, and risk management is really, really important. You don't want to just short and then walk away for days or weeks without having your areas, your stop losses, and your profit targets predefined, okay? And then, again, just kind of the flow through of how this works. First, you borrow Bitcoin, then you sell it. So it sounds a little weird to some people. They're like, how do you do this? So you actually sell before you buy, right? Because you're borrowing it, you can sell it at the current market price. And then when it goes down, buy back lower. And then the profit or the difference of that is yours. It's just like buying low and selling high, except you're doing it backwards. And, that's something that people in the stock market and the futures market have done for a long time. But this is actually easier to do in Bitcoin than it is the stock market, because you actually have restrictions, and there are a handful of issues with doing this in the stock market, where with doing it in cryptocurrencies, there's no issues, and it's really, really simple. So again, I hope this is helpful. I will see you guys at that live class, and I'll talk to you soon.